Hi Libra, welcome to March. So, where are you at right now? Whoa. Okay, so there's all of this energy about new opportunities that you could be excited about right now. And then that might confuse you because we're in a Mercury retrograde when we're kind of like reflecting on the past stuff and like, oh, you're not supposed to start new things. So they're basically like, it's okay to start thinking about that and getting excited for things, new opportunities, things that really kind of move you or enthuse you, but just don't share your plans with anyone right now. Because any sort of epiphanies or insights as to what's going to make you happy in the long term, what your personal happily ever after looks like, are coming through right now for a reason. And that will kind of coordinate with this Mercury retrograde energy to like kind of show you, okay, I got to get rid of this from my life. I've got to throw this out. I've got to change this and kind of propel you along your path. So that's fantastic because with all of this happiness and enthusiasm type of energy, even though you're keeping it inside, it's only going to potentially for you. So off to a really great start with March. Now, what is tainting any feelings of happiness or joy right now? And they're saying the fact that like there are certain things in your life that used to bring you a lot of joy, or maybe they're like still, pretty good situations or pretty good friendships and things like that. However, they're not exactly what you want. And so you're thinking about, I've got to move on from this just to improve it, to find something a little bit better, a little bit more aligned with where I want to be. However, they're saying that this is like kind of a slow process, and that's exactly what the Mercury retrograde is for. So it's definitely applicable to you, even though your energy might be a little less tragically emotional than some of the other signs this month. So what is it that you think is going to make you happy? And they're saying, honestly, like hanging out with people and just like happiness itself. Like there's no specific thing. You know that happiness is completely within grasp and within your reach. There's no specific item except for maybe the social piece, like being around people who bring you joy and happiness and contentment, making sure that you're spending time with them, maybe meeting new people, maybe going out and drinking. But what they're saying here is, as far as a number message goes, you have 222. So they're saying a very Libra thing that, the more kind of ducks we have in a row, like these little items of balance, the greater total life balance we have, between work and relationships and family. And Libras are all about balance. And so they say that, each individual area of your life, as you look at that with your health, with your relationships, with your work, your time, your sleep, the more that your nutrition, the more that you kind of like balance out these little things, the greater overall sense of balance you have, which really, really brings you a lot of joy and happiness or contentment. So, as far as I know that I can be happy despite my circumstances, energy goes, how is that perception sort of true? And they say, well, you could use a little bit more money, a little bit more career success potentially. And also like something to the effect of, in so kind of putting out limits or boundaries, saying, I'm not excited to do this, so I'm not going to do this, is actually the right attitude to have. If something doesn't bring you joy, don't do it, basically. I mean, to a certain extent, like within balance, right? They're saying you've got like a really strong and firm, very tactful sort of energy of like grace and, gratitude and understanding what happiness means for yourself this month. So that's awesome because a lot of signs don't have that. So yay for you. How is your perception false? And they say, well, unfortunately, there are some things that you need to have conversations with people about. This could be like a conversation in the workplace or in a relationship, some hard truths that you need to share, and you're not super pumped to do that. And if you think you can just brush those under the rug, that's false. But they're saying, you can do this in a way, kind of remembering that it's for your highest good and your greater overall happiness. And then now the number message is 444. And they're saying, look, that doubles the potential for happiness and success. And it's a very divine energy when you break it down. Things as you kind of go through and you're like really objectively honest with yourself and with other people, you're basically creating double the amount of satisfaction and balance and harmony in your life in all areas. And then all of a sudden, it's like the law of attraction starts kicking in, and you might not even be trying to consciously attract anything, but good things flow to you, increased, like more and more joy and happiness flow, because you're already savoring that energy and you know it's available to you. And so it's just like you're a magnet for it. So awesome. I love that. What will make you the most happy this month? And they say, not showing, not going out of your way to show a specific amount of love to somebody, not doing things for other people, just kind of like savoring the happy moments. Like really living in that mindful energy, that day-to-day energy of like, this is what makes me happy right now. This brings me a lot of joy. And even things, like paying bills that are not typically joyful, it's like the satisfaction after you did it. It's one thing to cross off your list is so satisfying. So, your daily responsibilities, it might be something, things that you already know you have to do and you're not going to forget. You might get a tremendous amount of happiness and satisfaction or joy from writing them all on a piece of paper and crossing them off, even though it's something you routinely do anyway. Got out of bed, check. Put my clothes on, check. Like this is not an abnormal morning for me. Had breakfast, check. Brush my teeth, check. Put on my makeup, check. Like you could feel tons and tons of joy or happiness from something so silly in this month. Like the energy is right for that. And the more joy you feel, the more that you get. It's like everything doubles. It potentiates over time. You master this, boom, here's more. You master this, boom, here's more. So awesome for you. I wish I had some Libra in my chart. I have approximately 0 Libra in my chart. So a little jealous. Forces at play outside of your control in favor of your happiness. And they say nobody's going to be real bitchy with you, but also just you're optimistic or positive, making the, making lemons out of lemonade kind of attitude. Good. So nothing you really have to do there. Forces at play outside of your control against your overall happiness is like obligations, contracts, whether those are social contracts or like actual things that you need to do, and then having to make decisions in regards to those. Because everybody knows Libras do not like to have to make the final choice on things. They're totally cool with narrowing down a few options that they're going to be happy with. Out of 10 restaurants, I like these 3, you pick. But, there's going to be an expectation that you make some sorts of decisions that will affect you in the long term or have to do with your stability. And unfortunately, those are ones that only you can make. So what's going to bring you luck this month? So your lucky day this month is the 9th of March. And then your power color is sapphire. So you could wear a sapphire stone. You can use this as like a color that you wear. You could write with a sapphire colored pen, use a notebook that's similar to that color to make those little lists I mentioned, or you can just imagine this color energy kind of shining through your body here. Now, your number energy with this color is 38. So they're saying, 3 is the number of divinity and investment. So, and it was also the number there with the 3 of cups, celebration and fun and happiness and joy. So, basically the spirit world is supporting you. The more that you invest in your own happiness with the 8, the sooner, because 8 is about speed, the sooner that awesome things are going to flow into your life. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 is about getting what you want, about your wishes. So the more that you invest in your own happiness, the sooner all these awesome blessings flow to get you the things that you want. And so it's saying with the sapphire energy that it's important you regenerate your body. So you might want to invest in some sort of an activity, like maybe you join a yoga class and then all of a sudden, there's discounts available with that, and you make new friends at the yoga class, and all of a sudden your health gets better and you're getting like all of this intuitive insight, through the meditative transient states that you might experience in a yoga class. Or maybe it's you change something with your diet, who knows? But essentially, this color energy, it serves to kind of like purify your body. And when we were talking about that, like, hey, let's call attention to the things that are not quite right, that they're going pretty well, but they could be a little bit better, and change those, improve them, or cut them out of our life in order to head down this awesome path of things that we want. This color energy correlates to the throat chakra, so it's going to help us to have that better clarity and insight, and also to communicate those things we don't want to help us make those decisions. It's going to soothe your nerves, calm you down, clears blocked pathways like on your way to well-being. So this really gets rid of any sort of like emotional imbalance. It really kind of propels you down the right path. So with this one, the affirmation is heal, purify, and regenerate my body. And you can also do this with like pure heal and regenerate my thoughts. Pure heal, regenerate my relationships. Pure heal, regenerate the way I think about, money, to clear out your abundance blocks, anything like that. So this is a really awesome color energy for you. If you have a sapphire stone, I would, like a necklace or a bracelet or something, I would wear that a lot this month. But as far as stones go, your crystal of the month is brown jasper, okay? Now, I want to show you the difference between brown and yellow jasper. Do you see? Brown, yellow. Very close. But this is the one that you want. So if you go to a local rock store, you'll just want to kind of look at that, if that's where you go to pick one up, if you don't already have one. You can also order one from me, and then with that comes a like a video series on how to use crystals and things like that, as well as a printout that says, hey, here's how you care for it. Here's the angels associated to it, the physical benefits of using this, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, the point is that this one helps us to be grounded. It's a protective stone, just like a black or a red one would be. It really gives us that like grounded, earthy energy. It instills feelings of comfort. It inspires harmony. It gets rid of our fear. So that's great when we have to communicate or make decisions. It really unveils our hidden feelings, which is super supportive then for us in the time of a Mercury retrograde, when all of a sudden bullshit surfaces that we didn't even know we had stuffed into our subconscious. It helps us to be honest with ourselves, with other people. It makes our reflection rapid. And so in a Mercury retrograde, instead of sitting there and kind of sulking in this emotional like Pisces bullshit, you're going to just like boom, 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 barrel through it and just like continue on to that place of joy. So it increases your imagination, which is good in the workplace if you have a creative type of role. And then it takes your ideas that you have and it transforms them into action. And so it seems counterintuitive that we would want to take action steps in the time of a Mercury retrograde. And so what I was saying before is it's not necessarily like don't take action. This will help you if you do decide to take action, even though they say like starting things in a retrograde period can sometimes create more issue for you or more roadblocks. But the thing is like, let's say you start a business, okay? Any potential roadblocks that show up, you're going to be able to know what the potential issues are a little bit quicker in a retrograde than if you started it after and then down the line that snowballs into a bigger problem. So this will be very supportive with that. Now, as far as, taking actions go, it might be mental actions or planning, and then you execute things after the retrograde, because we also had that energy there of like, it's okay to start thinking about and getting excited about things. However, we maybe don't want to tell other people what we're doing just yet. So this one will kind of align all of your chakras, gets those kind of moving the right way. It anchors all of those energies in your body. If you put it under your pillow, it helps you to remember your dreams, which can be very interesting in a Mercury retrograde kind of period, because it's calling deeper attention to those things, and then it helps us to barrel through those. So it's really supportive in periods of like stress or anguish, disappointment. If you have like a chronic illness, like you have bronchitis you just can't get rid of, you might want to put it on your throat chakra, even though it's more of a root chakra kind of a correlated stone. It helps you to be more organized, which is great, because if you're going to Marie Kondo the shit out of your life right now to create space for more joy, it'll kind of facilitate that. And, in a Mercury retrograde, we do want to check out the things that don't work. So awesome. Helps with, it's kind of like, okay, let's say that you take Adderall, okay? And then you cut it into half, and you just took like an extra half a dose. It's like that. it's like a kind of a stimulant. Like it makes you hyper focused and be able to complete things very, very quickly. So anyway, it does a bunch of other shit. You can look that up on my website. So coming back to the rest of our reading, what kind of energies do you need to bring into your life in order to help that happiness thrive? And they say, don't be caught up in the details of things. Details are not important so much this month. It's more about broad strokes and then just really savoring and focusing on that happiness on a day-to-day level. This made me really happy right now. This made me really happy today. I'm so happy that I'm so happy. How magical for you guys. I am so, like, I've never seen the sun card come up so often in a reading, I don't think. Like, basically never. So, generally, overall, a very happy and wonderful month. Yay! Okay, so how can you sustain your happiness once you get some? And they go, well, so here's the thing. They go, you're lucky that this month, if you really get into that joyful, happy vibration, it will potentiate and continue to double. Like it could be super euphoric for you, while a lot of the other signs are going to suffer a bit in this retrograde. But what they say is that you're lucky that for some reason it's like you get a hall pass where if you focus on things that are unfair, they don't potentiate. You know, because what we say is like what we focus on expands, right? For you, when you focus on injustice, that doesn't expand this month. So, I mean, that's cool. That's awesome. What kind of spiritual tools might kind of help you to like get into this happiness vibe if you're not already there, and then sustain it? And they say use your pendulum, actually. And so I believe that my pendulum video is, you can look it up in the playlist. But I believe that that one is a public video for everybody, because some of them were private because they were for Patreon previously. So anyway, this is what pendulums look like. And so you can ask it questions and it will say yes, like this, or maybe it'll say no, like this, or maybe it'll say maybe, like this. And so me personally, because I would go to the tarot more often if I had a question like, does so-and-so have feelings for me? I could get a yes, but like that is not specific enough because the feelings might be like, I hate you, bitch. Right? So I don't like to use yes or no questions very often with things like that. But I do use my, personally, a way that I use the pendulum a lot is like, okay, should I start with this task today? Yeah. Should I start with this one? No. Should I do these things in this order? Yes or no? You know, that kind of stuff. Like if I have a big long laundry list of shit I want to accomplish, it's like, is this a good place to start? That kind of a thing. And then the last thing here is March overall in a nutshell. What's that going to be like? Isn't it going to be funny if we get the sun card again? They go, it's a month of making clear-cut decisions and feeling good about them. They go, even when we are looking at things that are unfair or unjust. They're saying, remembering that if we focus on, you know, so I feel like this word advocacy is coming up. So if you're going to advocate for somebody else, that might bring you joy, right? Okay, I see that this specific group of people is being oppressed. So therefore, I am going to focus on that, and it's not going to expand the oppression. I'm going to help them in whichever way I can, whichever way I possibly can. That's the judgment decision that you're making. And then your happiness expands because you're doing good for others. That's a way that might play out. March, so I do feel like something's unfair, and I don't necessarily know that for some of you, it's unfair to you. Like somebody got promoted ahead of you and they were totally not as qualified as you. For others of you, you know, it's just general kind of shitty happenstance, but you make the most of it. But then for more of you, I feel like this is like 40%. You see something that's unfair, you call attention to it, you make that decision, and then you do it with strength and confidence, and it makes you really happy that you do because awesome outcomes move forward with that. You say, and so when they were saying before, like you're not going to go out of your way to show love for something. So let's say that previously you were promoting the shit out of They make baby products that are organic, for example, okay? And so you really love those, and so you were sharing it with everybody. You were trying to tell other moms how great this is, and then you find out that a lot of those baby products are made in like a sweatshop by like tiny Chinese children or something, okay? And so then all of a sudden you go, oh, I don't like this anymore. You call attention to it despite the fact that it might be embarrassing. You shared the shit out of it before, but it brings you a lot of joy and happiness that you're raising awareness, that you're advocating for the needs of these tiny children. You do this with so much grace and tact that it actually has a bigger effect than you anticipated, whether you notice it or not. Like, because people might not like the posts that you make on social media or whatever, but maybe then they do just stop buying those products, for example. They're saying this creates good bonds and connections with other people. You know, if you join some sort of group where you see an injustice or some sort of an oppression and you decide to advocate for that, you create like a stable, like a really wonderful environment where things grow out of that and bonds are created and there's a lot of joy and happiness and success in that. And it can also create new opportunities for you down the road. They're saying it might seem a little bit crazy as I talk about this right now because maybe this hasn't come into your awareness as to what this injustice is as of yet. But this will come to you. You'll notice it. You'll overhear somebody saying something. Someone will bring it to your attention, or you'll just think about it on a whim, like while you're buying a coffee. You'll be like, oh, I think I want to look into this certain thing, and you discover something that's unfair, and then you are able to somehow like end something that needs to end. And this could be something, you know, much smaller scale. It could be an injustice in your family. It could be, hey mom, I noticed that you're nicer to me than my sister. You know, something simple. But basically that's kind of March in a nutshell. And by doing those things, by making those decisions, your happiness just basically potentiates. So you have a lot of things going for you. And it seems to me like March, even though typically in a retrograde, we don't want to start new things, in starting something like this, it's a really wonderful thing for you to do because it's almost like, you know, I said you get a hall pass. Like these energies don't touch you that way because you're doing the right thing, because you're making a difference, because you're advocating for someone else or a group of people or something, or a certain, you know, platform, an issue that's important to you. And then things start really moving and shifting in a positive direction for you, creating huge opportunities down the road. It's like you're laying the foundation for something, which isn't uncommon from some of the other signs. It's like maybe they have boring months and less happy months than you, but it's like a foundational month for new things later. So anyway, that's your March. I love you so much, and I'll see you in April.